Imagine inventing the future, years before anyone else, holding the technology that could change the entire world. Now imagine being too afraid to use it. Not because the invention didn't work, not because customers didn't want it, but because it threatened the business that was already making billions. That is the story of Kodak. For most of the 20th century, Eastman Kodak Company wasn't just a camera company. It was photography itself. If families captured birthdays, weddings, vacations, or graduations, there was a good chance Kodak was part of the memory. Its famous yellow boxes appeared in homes across the world. Its film powered millions of cameras. Its profits seemed endless. Then, everything changed. Ironically, the company that invented one of the most important technologies of the digital age failed to lead the digital revolution. Welcome to Empires. Today, we uncover one of the biggest business lessons in modern history. The story begins in the late 19th century. A young entrepreneur named George Eastman believed photography was far too complicated. At the time, taking a photograph required heavy equipment, glass plates, chemicals, and considerable technical knowledge. Photography wasn't for ordinary people. It was for professionals. George Eastman wanted to change that. He believed memories shouldn't belong only to experts. They should belong to everyone. That vision led to the founding of Kodak. The company's goal was remarkably simple. Make photography easy. Its famous slogan captured the idea perfectly. Asterisk, you press the button, we do the rest. Star. For the first time, ordinary families could take photographs without understanding complex chemistry. Kodak handled the difficult part. Customers simply enjoyed capturing memories. The idea worked better than anyone imagined. Throughout the 20th century, Kodak became one of the world's most successful companies. Its film was everywhere. Its cameras became household products. Its research laboratories produced remarkable innovations. As photography grew, Kodak grew with it. Families trusted the brand. Professionals relied on it. Retailers stocked it. Photographers recommended it. By the 1970s, Kodak dominated the global film market. Its market share was extraordinary. Its profits were enormous. Its future looked secure. From the outside, Kodak appeared impossible to defeat. History has shown that's often when companies become the most vulnerable. Now comes the twist. The invention that would eventually threaten Kodak didn't come from a competitor. It came from inside Kodak itself. In 1975, a young engineer named Steven Sasson built something extraordinary. The world's first digital camera prototype. It wasn't sleek. It wasn't fast. It wasn't practical by today's standards. It weighed several kilograms, captured low-resolution black and white images, and took more than 20 seconds to record a single photo. But none of that mattered. Because Steven Sasson wasn't trying to build the perfect camera. He was proving a revolutionary idea. Photography no longer needed film. Think about that. The company that earned billions from selling photographic film had just invented a camera that didn't need film at all. When Sasson demonstrated the invention, the reaction wasn't exactly excitement. Some leaders recognized its potential. Others questioned whether customers would ever want digital photography. After all, film was incredibly profitable. Every roll sold generated revenue. Every developed photograph created more income. Digital cameras threatened that entire business model. If digital photography succeeded, Kodak's film business could decline. That created a difficult strategic dilemma. Should the company aggressively pursue a technology that might disrupt one of its most profitable products? This challenge has a name in business: the innovator's dilemma. When your greatest innovation puts your greatest success at risk. Many companies don't lose because they fail to innovate. They lose because they are afraid of what their own innovation might replace. For years, Kodak continued improving film. The company invested in better cameras, better film, better photo processing. Those decisions weren't unreasonable. Film was still profitable. Customers still bought it. But quietly, technology kept improving. Computers became more common. Digital sensors became better. Storage became cheaper. The future wasn't arriving all at once. It was arriving, one small improvement at a time. The danger wasn't that Kodak ignored technology. The danger was underestimating how quickly technology could reshape customer behavior. Kodak had invented the future, but it was still living in the past. Its film business remained strong. Its profits continued. Everything looked stable. Until the digital revolution accelerated. And suddenly, the world stopped buying film. In the next chapter, we'll uncover how digital cameras changed everything, why competitors moved faster than Kodak, and how one of the world's most iconic brands found itself fighting for survival. As the 1990s arrived, the impossible slowly became reality. Digital cameras, once considered experimental, were becoming better every year. Images became clearer. Memory became cheaper. Computers became more common in homes. For the first time, people could take a photograph, see it instantly, and delete it if they didn't like it. No film. No waiting. No developing costs. To consumers, this felt revolutionary. To Kodak, it presented a difficult challenge. Every digital photo was one less roll of film sold. The very technology Kodak had helped pioneer was beginning to weaken the business that had made it successful. As digital photography gained popularity, new competitors entered the market. Companies like Canon Incorporated, Nikon Corporation, Sony Group, and others invested heavily in digital imaging. These companies weren't trying to protect a massive film business. They were focused on building the future. That difference mattered. While Kodak still earned significant revenue from traditional photography, its competitors were moving aggressively into digital products. The market was changing. Customers were changing. Expectations were changing. And technology never waits for market leaders to catch up. Then came another disruption. One even bigger than digital cameras. The smartphone. When companies like Apple Incorporated introduced the iPhone, and manufacturers using Android rapidly improved mobile cameras, something remarkable happened. People stopped carrying separate cameras for everyday moments. Your phone was already in your pocket. It could take photos, share them instantly, store thousands of memories. The camera industry faced another dramatic shift. Technology wasn't just replacing film anymore. It was replacing cameras themselves. For millions of consumers, it's important to understand something. Kodak didn't ignore digital photography completely. The company invested in digital cameras. It developed new technologies. It entered new markets. But transforming a giant organization is much harder than launching a startup. Kodak had factories, supply chains, employees, and a business model built around film. Changing all of that required enormous time, resources, and difficult decisions. By the time digital products became central to the market, competition had intensified, profit margins had declined, and Kodak no longer held the dominant position it once enjoyed. Being first to invent something doesn't always mean being first to build a successful business around it. In 2012, the unthinkable happened. Eastman Kodak Company filed for bankruptcy protection. For generations, Kodak had been one of America's most iconic companies. Millions of families had trusted the brand. Thousands of employees had built careers there. Now, the company faced one of the biggest crises in its history. For many people, Kodak became a symbol of a painful truth. Even legendary companies can struggle if they fail to adapt quickly enough to major technological shifts. Success in one era doesn't guarantee success in the next. Here is something many people don't know. Kodak didn't vanish. After restructuring, the company shifted its focus. Today, it operates in areas such as commercial printing, advanced materials, industrial imaging, and related technologies. It's much smaller than it once was, but it continues to innovate in specialized markets. The Kodak of today is very different from the Kodak that once dominated consumer photography. And that reminds us of something important. Businesses can reinvent themselves, even after extraordinary setbacks. Imagine building the world's greatest photography company. Then imagine that your greatest strength becomes your greatest weakness. Kodak loved photography. but its profits depended on film. Digital photography threatened that foundation. This is a challenge many successful businesses face. When you have spent decades perfecting one model, changing it can feel risky. But refusing to change can become even riskier. Sometimes, the biggest threat to a successful company isn't competition. It's the fear of disrupting itself. Kodak had invented the future. Yet others built it faster. The company that once defined photography became a cautionary tale taught in business schools around the world. But Kodak's story isn't just about failure. It's about one of the most important lessons in business history. In the final chapter, we'll uncover the 5 timeless lessons every entrepreneur can learn from Kodak, why innovation alone isn't enough, and how today's market leaders can avoid making the same mistakes. Kodak's story isn't just about photography. It's about business, leadership, innovation, and human psychology. More than a century after its founding, companies around the world still study Kodak. Not because of how it failed, but because of why it failed. Let's look at the 5 lessons every entrepreneur, business owner, and future leader should remember. Lesson 1: Never fall in love with your current business model. Kodak believed it was in the film business. But customers didn't care about film. They cared about memories. This difference is crucial. Customers don't buy drills because they want drills. They buy drills because they want holes. They don't buy cameras because they love cameras. They buy cameras because they want to capture moments. Businesses that focus too much on how they create value can lose sight of why customers buy in the first place. Kodak protected film. Its customers embraced convenience. Kodak invented the first digital camera. That's an incredible achievement. But inventing something and successfully commercializing it are two very different things. History is full of companies that created brilliant technology only for someone else to turn it into a successful business. Ideas are valuable. Execution creates empires. Innovation isn't about inventing first. It's about delivering value to customers better than anyone else. For years, Kodak's financial reports looked healthy. Film continued generating strong profits. Executives had every reason to feel confident. But customers were changing. Quietly. Gradually. They wanted speed. Convenience. Instant sharing. The world was moving toward digital experiences. Numbers tell you what happened yesterday. Customers often tell you what will happen tomorrow. The companies that stay closest to changing customer behavior usually adapt the fastest. This may be the most important lesson of all. If your new product threatens your old product, launch it anyway. Because if you don't, someone else eventually will. Think about companies like Netflix moving from DVDs to streaming, or Amazon expanding far beyond books, or Apple Incorporated repeatedly reinventing its own product lineup. They understood something Kodak struggled with. The future doesn't wait for permission. Success creates confidence. Confidence creates comfort. Comfort can create complacency. When a company dominates an industry for decades, it's easy to believe the future will look like the past. But technology doesn't care about market share. Innovation doesn't respect history. Customers don't remain loyal forever if better solutions appear. Every empire, no matter how powerful, must continue earning its place. Today, when people hear the word Kodak, many think about missed opportunities. But that's only part of the story. Kodak helped make photography accessible to millions. It transformed how families captured memories. It invested in scientific research. It pioneered technologies that influenced the digital age. Its impact on photography cannot be erased. Its story reminds us that a company can make extraordinary contributions and still face extraordinary challenges. Because business isn't only about great ideas. It's about recognizing when the world has changed. Imagine being the company that invented tomorrow, while still earning billions from yesterday. That's the impossible choice Kodak faced. Protect the present, or build the future. History shows, the future usually wins. Whether you are building a startup, leading a business, or planning your career, Kodak's story offers a timeless reminder. Never become so successful that you stop questioning your own success. Never become so comfortable that you stop learning. Never become so attached to the past that you miss the future. Because every great business is only one innovation away from changing the world, and only one missed opportunity away from being changed by it. Thank you for watching Empires. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe for more stories about the world's greatest companies, their boldest ideas, their biggest mistakes, and the timeless lessons behind every business empire. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and remember, history doesn't reward the company that invents the future. It rewards the company that has the courage to embrace it.